Thank you for attending the Growth Quiz training. I'm Kish Davis and I will be your virtual trainer. The British educationalist Mr. Dylan Williams says the key features of effective learning environments are that they create student engagement and allow teachers, learners, and their peers to ensure that the learning is proceeding in the intended direction. The last part of this quote is what really resonates with me when he starts talking about proceeding in the intended direction. Our burning question stems from the quote, and it is, how do we ensure that student learning is proceeding in the intended direction? And this is where the No Red Ink growth quiz is going to come into play because we need to know, based on the data and the growth, what intended direction we need to go through with our students. Today we're going to define NoRedInks growth quiz, explain the value of the growth quiz, and show how to use this in the classroom. So there will be demonstrations on what the interface looks like and how to navigate it. So it is important to know that you must first assign a quiz so that you can actually have a frame of reference or something to compare the growth quiz with. So always keep that in mind. And what is a growth quiz? A growth quiz allows teachers to create a quiz that can be compared to an earlier unit diagnostic or quiz. A growth quiz asks the same number of questions as the previous unit diagnostic or quiz, but uses new questions. So how can a growth quiz add value to our lives as teachers? Here are a few benefits so that we can celebrate these. Growth quizzes are connected to an original unit, diagnostic, or previous quiz. So this means for the students, there's no surprises. They've already practiced this information and they are familiar with it. They've already had a quiz over it. And even with the original quiz, if they miss something, the No Red Ink will go back and have them to explain to them what the concept is, and then they will be able to retry it again. Another benefit set growth quizzes will ask the same number of questions on the same topic as in the quiz, the previous quiz, but then it'll use different questions. I love this. This offers consistency with the students. So the time they practice and when they have the first quiz, the original quiz, let's say they have 20 questions and they are able to they know what the questions and the format of the questions are going to look like. So when they go to take the growth quiz after they've practiced previously, then they will already know what to expect and how to answer the questions. And then last, you can compare results to see students' progress and growth as a whole, as well as individually. This is my favorite value and benefit of NoRedInks growth quiz. And I'm going to show you, do a demonstration later on in this training to show you what that actually looks like. All right, so how can you use the growth quiz in your classroom? You're going to watch this demonstration and I'm going to show you. One more thing before we conclude. Remember the best practices when going through growth. Remember these 3 best practices when doing growth quizzes. Computer-based learning should not take the place of the teacher. Let me repeat that. Computer-based learning should not take the place of the teacher. Make sure to check in with your students for understanding. So the computer is fun as far as NoRedInk is concerned. It's very personable and catered just for the students. Just make sure that you're still available for the students if they have questions and if they're stuck or if they need you to model something. 2, when students write down ideas, sometimes they remember them better. So if your student is struggling and you've done a few things with NoRedInk and you have worked with them, sometimes having them to just kind of take notes will help the brain to process it. So don't get away from that. And three, allow students plenty of time to practice what um, you teach. Allow students plenty of time to practice what you teach. It's fun to practice with a peer or group or individually, as long as they're practicing. What you've learned today: the definition of NoRedInks growth quiz, value of NoRedInks growth quiz, how to use the data from NoRedInks growth quiz in your classroom, and best practices when using the growth quiz and computer-based learning. Thank you so much for attending the training. My name is Kishmi Davis. I specialize in districts productivity by teaching new skills to educators. And I can be reached at kishmidavis@gmail.com. Have a great day.